Hello, I'm Eric Jolly, and in this present moment today, I am joined by Carlos Mariani Rosa. Carlos, can you tell me a little bit more about your organization? What does Minnesota Educational Equity Partnership do?
I've been affiliated with this organization for over 2 decades now. And we started out as an organization focused on advancing students of color and indigenous students through our educational systems in Minnesota, which quite frankly have persistently failed these students. We continue to focus on that, but we really talk about our work nowadays as an entity that drives systems change so that our delivery systems transform into places that create empowering experiences and opportunities for Black, Brown, Asian, Indigenous, and other students of color in our systems.
So I've seen the research, and you really do shed light on the dramatic differences in achievement that we have. It's so troubling to know Minnesota is so high achieving, but somehow fails to teach so many students. It occurs to me that all too often our non-native English speakers are being graded on their ability to serve as a bilingual translator, not just their ability to learn content.
Yeah, very, very well said. I would say that many of our communities of color, indigenous communities would, for the most part, I know I'm generalizing, but for the most part would say, I want my school, the school for my child, to be a place where he or she is affirmed for who he or she is, and where it sees all the incredible skills that we've worked with by virtue of our culture, of our experiences that we've handed down, from our ancestors, from our broader community. Those things are of value to us, and we don't see educational systems valuing those things, even though we know those things are vital for their ability to be successful in the world. Because you really want to get at the content knowledge that my students has, and not only my child's English capacity. So it's a very gritty, earthy kind of process that we do that ranges from, as I said, grassroots folks to educators of color, translating that data through their own filters and their own experiences, and then taking that to shape better, hopefully better policies for our schools and universities.
How are these issues of racial equity and injustice coming into play today, the current events? How are they impacting our students and learners?
Yeah, Eric, I believe we're in a pretty special moment right now. And in many ways, there's nothing new, but in many ways, there is something incredibly new. And I think the incredibly new is a heightened awareness among, I believe, a greater and broader array of people, namely a lot of white folks, a lot of white teachers who were failing to make the connection between the fact that a Black man could be brutally killed in front of the entire world over a torturous long period of time, making the connection of that all too common reality with the incredible disparities of how students of color and indigenous students are being treated within our education system. And so I think this moment is providing an opportunity to have a much more honest and broader conversation between and among communities of color, indigenous communities, and our educators who are still heavily predominantly white. Given what I just said, there's a lot of room for working together to redefine what safety means. And safety for these communities means that the dignity of my child and their sense of self-worth, their process of empowering themselves needs to be at the center of your work as an educator, because that definitely is going to be at the center of any run-in that they're going to have with a police officer, with a discriminatory boss, et cetera, down the line.
Carlos, you're bringing communities together. You're doing data, policymakers, grassroots action, so many different ways of impacting education for all of our students. How can people support your work and your community?
Yeah, much of our work is done through what conventionally we would call volunteerism. We call it collective action, solidarity work, community engagement, which provides all sorts of opportunities for folks to participate in many of our processes. Folks can also visit us at our website where they can donate. We are a membership-based organization. And then just connect us with folks who may have resources as well, including not just financial resources, but just knowledge and relationships with folks that an equity organization like us should connect with.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlos Mariani Rosa. Thank you, Representative Carlos Mariani Rosa. Thank you, Executive Director. Thank you for your leadership in our community. Carlos, thank you for joining us in this present moment.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity.